Welcome to 101 on God 101. My guest today is Lisa, who was blindsided this season. Lisa, we have a lot to talk about, all things Big Brother, but I always say, but first God. So I'm going to start there. Tell me about your faith.
I identify as Jewish. I grew up in a Jewish household. We identify with the Reconstructionist Judaism. And I grew up, I went to Hebrew school, I was confirmed, and I have held Judaism as part of my faith, beliefs, and morals in the upbringing. I get to celebrate all of the beautiful holidays with my family. And, you carry it wherever you go. And I carry it in my values and my morals.
I at the risk of sounding not that smart, what did you call it? Reconstructive?
Yeah, a Reconstructionist. It's when you reinterpret the Torah, right? So it's a more progressive way of interpreting the faith and what is written in the Torah. So it's very open, inclusive, and up for different parts of interpretation and discussion. And my temple, practices that in our beliefs and our traditions and the activities of how we are all brought together.
That explains a lot of why I feel like I saw such an open-hearted person in you in the Big Brother house. And I too study the Torah because not everybody knows this, but the first 5 books of the Bible is the Torah. You call the first book of the Torah in the beginning because it was on scrolls and you had to unscroll it in the beginning. And then me as a Christian, us Christians, we call it the book of Genesis. And I believe the same, we all were created by the same God. So for what it's worth. And I say to my Jewish husband, I always say, Jesus, to me, Jesus, I know Jesus is God. And I always say to him, Jesus is the most important Jew ever born. And he says, that's right, Jules. All right, let's talk about your time in the Big Brother house. When you were evicted, you were the second person evicted and you were blindsided.
Yes.
Have you watched the episodes leading up to your eviction? And if so, what do you make of your eviction now?
So there was obviously a reality that I was living in that wasn't the reality of all of my other house guests. And, everyone has their reality through the Big Brother lens and what they believe. So there's so much that I uncovered. I realized that behind closed doors, everything that all of my castmates were speculating, assuming, lying about, creating, like everyone was just spreading a lot of lies that also weren't related to game at all about me. It was very shocking and another layer to uncover being outside of the Big Brother house. But that is not how I wanted to play, and that is not the kind of person I wanted to be. I know that lying is part of Big Brother, but I think the things that people were lying and creating false narratives about weren't necessarily necessary and planted a lot of seeds, which now I know were started by 1 or 2 people in the house.
How much did you lean on your spirituality while you were in it, while you were in the house and on tough days or through tough circumstances?
Yeah, Matt and I actually had a really beautiful conversation about Judaism, Christianity, spirituality, and how we move through that every day and throughout our days. That conversation was perceived by the house as they're working together. And we were just talking about faiths and beliefs and learning from each other because we're different and everyone has different beliefs that get them through the day. And it was so interesting, especially with him, to learn. And so I'd say my spirituality in terms of grounding myself, not necessarily related to my religion, is what gets me through my days. So I like to meditate. I like to center myself. I like to use that component of spirituality as my center within the chaos around me. My meditation and yoga teacher uses the analogy of being a tree. And in a storm, have your roots in the ground. And so your leaves may blow and like there might be rain and there might be thunder, but if you are rooted, you will stay strong.
What did you learn about faith through Matt, and what did you teach him about faith through through the conversations that you mentioned?
We actually learned a lot from each other from our differences. He uses his faith throughout the day to help him get through it. And it's about being a good person at the end of the day. And it's the things in our lives that keep our mind peaceful, keep our heart kind, allow us the tools to handle the adversity and make sense of what's going on around us. And that's how he uses his faith and his spirituality throughout the day. And that's how I use my faith and my spirituality throughout my day. So no matter where we come from or what we're brought up in or how we choose to believe, that helps, give us that extra hug or nourishment that we need during difficult times. At the end of the day, it's all about love and peace and connectivity. And if you're willing to have that openness to see how someone approaches their life and what they believe in, as long as it's done with respect for the other person, everyone has their own beliefs. And that's what brings us, I think, together if we're open to having those conversations and going through the human experience together.
Would you say as a result of your time in the house with Matt, maybe he's a lifelong friend?
Yeah, Matt and I actually have been talking almost every day outside of the house. We have been kind of in the same boat as the two evictees for the reasons that were pretty evident for what we both experienced in the house. We had similar situations and, different but similar evictions to some extent. And yeah, he's been so kind and so generous and very loving outside of the house. So I hope to be friends with him for a while.
Do you think, other than Matt, you've made friendships in the house that will pick up from where they left off once Big Brother 26 has its finale?
I want to have conversations with most everyone out of the house, aside from someone that I set a boundary with. I would love to have IRL in real life conversations with my house guests to connect with them outside of the game. So, being in the house and then hearing everything that was going on behind my back, I don't fully want that to skew my experience in terms of my connection with these people, because even though that connection might be skewed, I like to trust that maybe pieces that people showed me were genuine, and hopefully I can connect and have transparent conversations with these people in real life, clear up any misconceptions, mistruths, and just have an open discussion. So I think building my friendships with people will come when people are evicted, have had time to decompress, have had time to understand their journey outside of the house. And then once they've done their healing for what they need to, I would love to introduce them to Lisa, who was the same inside and outside Big Brother. But they weren't able to see that because they saw me through the Big Brother lens, and that is all that they saw me, down to, hey, I'm a chef.
Yeah, you were honest about your profession. Not everybody is. You're from Pacific Palisades, a nice community here in LA, and you're a private chef. And you've had celebrity clients, everyone from, I can only think of Paris Hilton. I know that you were her private chef. Yeah.
Yeah. She's one of my clients. I work with her, and she's iconic and she's amazing. And I'm very grateful.
Have you been keeping up watching the show since you got evicted?
Yes. Love keeping up with the Big Brother tea. It is getting even more chaotic.
So who are you pulling for right now? And I know things change on a dime, but as we record this, who are you pulling for? And the last person who was evicted was Cedric. So as we record this, who are you pulling for today?
I am rooting for T-Core. T-Core was part of one of my alliances, and she was always a friend in the house. And during my eviction, which obviously was a blindside, and I thought I had numbers, I thought I had friends, I thought I had alliances, which people didn't follow through on the way I was choosing to follow through on. And we have different ways of what alliance means. But with that being said, the house made their choices. And during the goodbyes, she was the only one that hugged me and said sorry. And for me, that shows character, and that shows heart, and that shows integrity in the face of a difficult situation. And for that, in addition to my time that I spent with her and aligned with her, I hope that she makes it to the end, because she's an amazing person.
Being that you are a spiritual woman, talk to me about the topic of forgiveness, because I just heard it right there when you described that hug from T-Core.
Yeah, forgiveness is beautiful. You know, if you don't forgive it, there are pieces of yourself that are hurt and cause pain. So forgiveness is only healing, and words and actions go a long way. And that's what matters to me. And so forgiveness is so important. And I am always open and willing to have the hard conversations. And there's new ways to test yourself in terms of new levels of forgiveness. But to move through life with more peace for yourself, forgiveness is essential.
That's beautifully said. In the final minute, what is next for you? Have you gone back to private chefing? What's happening in Lisa Weintraub's world?
Yeah, so I own 2 catering companies, Plates by Lisa and Batch Best Friend. They are thriving and open for business. Batch Best Friend, you can get Glitter Queen edible glitter. I am also working on coming out with my own edible glitter, and I would, that will be out hopefully soon. I am working on it because, you know, Glitter Queen vibes. And then I would love, with every purchase, to donate a portion of the proceeds to an anti-bullying campaign to create goodness from who I am, everything that we are. And if we can share the love and create more for other people and more connectivity, then I don't know what it's all about, but that's what it's all about to me.
Pay it forward and love one another. Lisa Weintraub, thank you.
Thank you.
Godspeed.